Those that are going to use it are going to be able to do the work of 100 or 1,000 people. When it's easy, there's not enough dopamine to focus. And so you can't focus.
And that was hard because like letting go of parts of your identity is difficult.
Not everybody gets to do what you did this last 8 months. It's super exciting and super beautiful.
This is so cool. I've been looking forward to this conversation. Matteo is the founder and CEO of Ultimate Beauty, the company I was working just before I went on my micro-retirement or my sabbatical. So Matteo knows a lot about me. We could just skip this small chat and get to it. But I want to catch up with you. I want to hear what's going on in your life. I know you moved. And then I want to share a little about myself and my journey the last couple of months and get your perspectives, what I might be doing in the future. How's that?
Sounds amazing.
How you been?
Been good. Yeah. Moved to Bilbao, waiting for a third kid. Passed a difficult moment with the business last year. But I feel very good. We had to reduce by 70%, but it was enough. The business is working and we're back to profitability this year. I think we're going to have not an incredible year, but a good year again, although last year we lost a lot. But I managed to go through that very calmly, which was good. It was hard to let go of a lot of people, but I also got a lot of positive people from many people that we let go of the time that they spent with us. So that's, it feels good because at least, we had a good impact in their lives while it lasted and we had no choice last year. But the biggest thing that I think is happening to me now is that for me, AI is improving my life quality at a dramatic pace.
AI.
So I've revamped all our food at home, what we eat, when we eat, what we mix stuff with. So I've been losing weight, gaining muscle, more energy. I'm not tired in the evening anymore. So I take a picture of the plate. I have a chat that is always the same. And I say, how can I improve this meal? And then it goes, okay, I see that you're mixing these two things. This is going to cause bloating. So remove one of these ones. My HRV started going up. My sleep improved. It's just unbelievable. So the crazy thing now is just that knowledge and information became very cheap and very instant. And for those that are a little bit nerdy and want to solve stuff, the amount of stuff that you can solve into your life is incredible. Now, it's a bit scary, the gap that is going to create between those that are afraid of the technology and don't want to use it and those that are going to use it. So those that are going to use it are going to be able to do the work of 100 or 1,000 people. But the person that is not using all this is going to keep on doing the job of one person.
As a child, what were your interests? What did you love doing?
I love creating mechanical things, fixing things, understanding how things work. What I was really good at. So I always, and this is also as a kid, I've been always very good with complicated things, and I've been very bad with simple math, for example. I'm very good at difficult math. And I actually asked GPT to interview me on this because a guy said I could be neurodivergent. And so I went through this huge interview with GPT and it was incredible. And he found out that I am neurodivergent, which is like not autistic level, but like close to it, like subclinical. And so I have this thing of like intense focus and wanting to solve complex problems and understand things, but difficulty with simple problems. It has to do, and I read the guy's book also about this. And I thought actually of you because
you sent me a message. Like, I'm curious about this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it has to do with how your brain secretes dopamine and the amount of dopamine needed to focus. No, when it's easy, there's not enough dopamine to focus. And so you can't focus. When it's easy, there's not enough dopamine to focus. And so you can't focus. And so you need hard to increase the dopamine and then hyperfocus happen. That's what happens in my brain. And that has to do with the guy I was talking about in this book that is unpublished that he sent me. And is that if you think about hunter-gatherers, you needed people that had different characteristics. Like we have people that don't like to sleep at night, for security. Then you have people that have pattern recognition to understand the animals and the seasons and this and that. And so you need people with a lot of different skills and different things that they're good at so we can survive as a whole and thrive as a whole. And that's why people have different brains.
I am curious. Like, I love the message that you get. Ken, I think you're neurodivergent. I'm like, okay, how am I neurodivergent, Matteo? Like, tell me, talk to me.
Well, I do see, for example, that you hyper focus on some things that give you a lot of interest. So there's this link with dopamine. Like, so one thing that I read, I'm not an expert at all in this, right? And I went with ChatGPT and stuff, but that some brains need a higher level of dopamine to focus. And that's part of the neurodivergent profile. So, for example, I have a form of ADHD, but not the usual form. It's called ADHD hyperfocus. And so I can focus on certain conditions. And that can appear annoying for others because when you're not focused, they're like, hey, why are you not focused? Why are you not motivated? This is stupid, you should just do it. And so the people that have this, they can't focus in the usual way. So asking them to focus in the usual, to be constant, it's just stupid, And that doesn't mean they're more or less skilled. They mean they're just different. And so if you use your brain the way your brain works well, then you get good results. If you try to fit yourself into a mode and do it like other people do it, then
you're fighting your nature. You're not going to have a lot of fun.
Exactly. And I see you had this more like me as well, that you're less constant and you have like these moments of brilliancy and these moments of like, I don't want to do this. And so it helped me like, it's a challenge though to learn to work with people that are different, right? This is a big challenge for any manager, for any company. The world was more built for the 80% of people that work in the normal way. And then the people that don't work in the normal way, they either become entrepreneurs or I think they struggle sometimes to fit in the normal setting.
And if you reflect on your work today with this lens of what you enjoy doing, what was natural for you as a child, when are you happiest at work and when are you the least happy?
I'm happiest when I'm solving a difficult problem that needs creativity and process and numbers thinking. That's why this AI thing brought a new energy to me. It's like, so I just like this thinking of these crazy systems and what's possible. And I don't need to wait for anyone to do it for me. And so solving a problem, solving a pain point, I like to think like, oh, to remove all the moments in my life that I'm not doing something that is truly important, like being with my kids is important, doing exercise, being with my wife. And then all these other moments like transport, groceries, like I could easily take that out of my life. I wouldn't mind. So that's exciting me when it's like I can solve a problem and sometimes to a creative way of solving it. And then what the part that I'm least excited is so this I don't know how to explain it, but like politics in organizations.
Beautiful. I'm going to flip it. Let's talk about me. Let's talk about me. me. I love this.
No, I don't know. I don't know. And you've had an amazing year. Like I'm super curious, and not everybody gets to do what you did this last 8 months. It's super exciting and super beautiful.
Yeah, I am humble about it, and I do see it as a luxury to be able to take this break, and I hope I've spent it well. So the first 6 months for me was a lot about reflection. It was about breaking routines, letting go of things that weren't important, and then trying to figure out, well, who am I really? Like if we take away everything else, what's left? And that was hard because like letting go of parts of your identity is difficult. Letting go of part of your routine is difficult. The first thing I did, and we spoke about this after leaving Ultimate Beauty, I went straight to work and built an AI startup. And I was on LinkedIn and I was hustling and I hated it. I heard for a second, it was so far away from who I truly am, or at least the way I did it. Not necessarily the AI part of it, but the going out, trying to sell myself, my time, my ideas on LinkedIn as a single kind of freelancer. I was doing things I didn't enjoy and not doing the things I do enjoy. So I let that go and I traveled. One of the reasons I went in a camper, I wanted to see how little do I need? Like, do I need luxury? Do I need comfort? And during the time, I reflected a lot. I read a lot. I learned about Dharma. I went deeper into Ikigai. But it was a lot of internalizing, a lot of thinking, not so much interacting with the world around me. And I think I needed that. And then at the end of that trip, I was like, okay, it's time for me to come out of my shell again. And I wanted to experiment something. So I went to Southeast Asia, 4 different countries. And I said, I want to do a little experiment. So one of the things I realized, we talked about Dharma earlier, there's simple tests where you can find your Dharma profile. It's almost like a horoscope. It's that simple, and there's probably no scientific backing behind it at all. But I loved it. So there's 9 Dharma profiles. Like, it could be entrepreneur, it could be warrior, it could be caretaker. But there was one that was teacher, and there's visionary, and there's a few others. But just reading through them and seeing my results, I came out as teacher, as my primary, visionary as my secondary. It just felt so amazingly true. And I realized I never seen myself as a teacher. But throughout my career, I've been teaching. Like, whenever I have an opportunity to coach or mentor or create a course or tell someone about this new exciting thing I'm going through, I always do. And I was like, okay, let's stop thinking about it and let's practice it. So I said, now as I'm going to Southeast Asia, I'm going to have a lot of free time. I'm traveling by myself. Let's start a YouTube channel and let's teach. Let's share my frameworks, my thinking, all the things that I've learned the last 6 months and share that with the world. Bought myself a camera. I spent a lot of time learning how to edit. Got good at that. Really enjoyed the process. But really also just enjoyed the process of sharing my thoughts and philosophies with the world. Nobody watched it. Channel has 100 subscribers, but it was something I was doing for myself as a tiny experiment to see, do I enjoy this? And turns out I do. I've felt very happy. I could sit up all night editing videos. Like, most people hate editing videos. Like, I would just lose track of time. And to me, that's a sign, right? So I did that and enjoyed it and had a great trip. And now that I'm back in the real world, it's almost been a little difficult to come back because I've been gone for so long. I've had all the time in the world for me without a deadline on the other side. But now I came back, it was rainy and cold in Malaga. And it's never rainy and cold in Malaga. Suddenly I realized I have to figure out what to do with my life. I can't be micro-retired forever. Money is going to run out. And that pressure has been hard. So it's been a month and I've had my ups and downs. But again, got really excited now when I restarted 50 Lunches.
I always find it fascinating, even though back in Norway, you had this rule with your roommates to invite always a new person to a dinner or
Tuesday dinners,
once a month. And so I always found that fascinating and something that excites you a lot and fits with you. Yeah, for sure.
I love concepts. Yeah, just turning something into a concept makes it exciting. Even looking back at my career, like if we started Ultimate Beauty, right? My job wasn't necessarily teaching, but I did a lot of it. A lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring. We built courses. And then those were among my happiest moments.
Yeah, and you had one thing, but I think you told me that it wasn't like the thing that you enjoy the most, that you're great at, is facilitation, right?
I love facilitation.
You love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always felt you on fire in facilitation and you're incredible at it.
But sometimes it drains me. I think there's parts of facilitation I love and there's parts I don't love. And I think in the setting of Ultimate Beauty, it was difficult because I was playing duplicate roles. When I was facilitating, say, the leadership team, right? I was both in the leadership team and facilitating the leadership team. And that split was hard.
But, I would say that often for myself, things that do excite me and give me energy sometimes also drain me and my energy. So you could still have something that you really like, but then you mix some stuff into it and then you like it less.
All right, let me show you my Ikigai. I know you've seen versions of this before, but it might have changed a little. And what I'm going to be looking for from you is to reflect upon it. Like, do you recognize this? Am I missing something? And we can see if we can make it better. I'm going to try to do a screen share. Let me see if this works. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is 50 lunches. Let's have lunch, right? We're having lunch now. I'm going to scroll down here and there we go. There's my Ikigai. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But if we start on top, what I love, what I'm passionate about, technology has always been on this one. From programming as a kid to just being super curious about tech news and everything technologically new. Creativity is there. That's expressed in many different ways through my guitar, now through YouTube, and then personal development. That's my own growth, my own development, but also development of others. Again, love teaching, coaching, seeing other people develop and becoming better versions of themselves. What I'm great at, strategy analysis. You've seen that in the leadership team. I have that from consulting, coaching, mentoring, teaching and storytelling. That one's new, but it feels authentic. And then leadership. And then on the right side, I think about this more as, how do I like to contribute? What could my contribution to the world be? And you can see happiness and purpose as a topic that's been pretty consistent. Meaningful life post AI. I reflected upon this one with someone else on another lunch. And I'm not sure if this is true. Like, I love AI as a technology, but I think maybe this is influenced a lot by the startup that I did, or the AI consultant that I did. So
What, the jobs are going to go away, or what?
Jobs are going to go away. What are people going to do? Like, I
do think the jobs are going to go, a lot of jobs are going to go away.
Yeah. And how will people find meaning and purpose and happiness?
So I have a disagreement with that, because I've met a lot of exited founders, which basically don't have to work.
Yeah.
And it's divided by some that do go depressed because they don't have meaning because of the job, and others that find other things to obsess about. For example, one friend of mine is obsessed about paddle, and he became a professional paddle player.
Right.
And so I think a lot more people will do sports. A lot more people, some people will binge eat, some people will drink and become alcoholics, of course. And so people will find different things to do with their time. And then you might do stuff that is not really work. Like, I don't know, try to improve the health of people in Africa, or build schools, or because with your hands, even if you don't have to, just because of the pleasure of it, of doing it with other people. Retreats, like, there's a million things you can do. So I think just it's going to happen the same thing that always happened. Some people are just going to do destructive things and others productive things. Some people are going to use it well, and some people are going to use it badly.
I think that's fair, but I think there's going to be a shock to the system until we get there. And having someone...
The shock is going to be unemployment, imagine.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of unemployment, and until governments figure it out, it's going to take some years. Some countries will take longer than others. And meanwhile, a lot of people will suffer because they have no savings to go through this.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard.
Definitely. Yeah, and there's some really bad scenarios in there. Yeah. I'll come a little back to this one, because I'd like to brainstorm with you with what the world needs. But I'll finish first. Better leadership is the third one I put in there. I feel like our leadership is average at best. And a lot of people could benefit from having better leadership, both in their day-to-day work, but also how to help people grow and learn and evolve. And then finally, paid for. And this is where I need your entrepreneur brain. Like, how do I turn this into a living? Like, should I go get a job? Should I start something? Should I freelance, right? And anything is possible. I put some labels down here, but I don't feel like this is baked at all. So I could be a founder. I could found something. I could be a leader, small or big company. I could be a coach within the company, or sell it as a service. I could be a teacher. I don't know what that means. I could be a content creator. I don't know how I'd monetize that. And I'm sure there's more. So I'm going to take a step back now and just kind of ask your reflections when you see this. Like, is this me? What am I missing? What are your thoughts?
I think it's you. I I had one thing come to mind. I feel you're more entrepreneur than an employee because one is that this thing of how you work, which is more like me, of having this bursts of energy and these dips. And it's very common for entrepreneurs. You know that, for example, neurodivergence in the general population is 3 to 6%, and in the entrepreneur population is 30%. So I think that you have this thing of inspiration and going crazy and then needing like to recharge your batteries and go in the van and go in the mountains. And there's less organizations that would be accepting of that. So that's one thing. Um, the areas that I see you're crazy good at facilitation, for example, leadership team development, ideas. So, for example, a lot of organizations now are going to struggle with adapting to a new world. So you can take your tech part that you know, so like how to keep them up to date, your facilitation, and how to deliver that to a leadership team. And so you can go and deliver new concepts and ideas to leadership teams, for example. And that's something you can do in bursts because you can do, for example, in a retreat of a company, you can go for 1 day, 2 days. It's a burst, and then you're out and you stop, right? And so that will get you travel, which you like, adventure, and going to new places and talking to people of different cultures. So I could see you developing in that. And an interesting thing because you said, oh, nobody watched it on YouTube is 100 people. So the curious thing about YouTube, so I've been wanting to create content for a long time, and I never do it, and I always get stuck. And one part of me just, oh, like, it's not worth it if you're not going to have like 1 million views, right? But depending who your target audience is, sometimes having 100 views is enough. you for example, my wife got a client from her YouTube, which she did for a while, a little bit, and her videos had 100 views. I think you should be doing something that you love and something that it doesn't matter whether it's going to be successful or not. I think a lot of people that have been very successful, they were not trying to be successful. Some people were, but some people, they were just very in love about something and they were just doing it and doing it and doing it, and then it became successful. And then after it becomes a certain size, maybe you want to manage the success. Maybe you buy or get a team and this and that, and you're trying to manage the success to keep growing it. There's a podcast recently with Tony Robbins and Alex Hormozy. Alex Hormozy was something saying about suffering, like, oh, if you're going to impact people, but if you have to suffer for it, that's okay. I can bear with it. And Tony Robbins says, fuck suffering. Just find something you're passionate about and do that. And I think you're trying to find that. Obviously, you're doing this Ikigai and trying to find it. And perhaps what's missing is that when you want to do what you're passionate about and you want to do the switch quickly, you have unrealistic expectations about how fast that could be realized. And that's why they say the most addictive thing is a monthly salary. Somebody said something like this. And the thing about a job is that it solves your monetarily need now, but it's immediate, right? So it's like crack. It's like you get the hit immediately in the vein, and in entrepreneurship can be much longer, and you don't know what reward you do. So if you do it for the money, it can be very shitty path. But if you do it for the passion, then the way I would think about it. So for example, when I started, I never thought the business would be this big, and I never thought I would make like a great salary or whatever. What I thought is just like, I want this life, I want to do this. So I'm going to lower my cost so it make it work. And that's what I did. I lowered my cost of life to the point that what I was doing didn't have to be that successful because my cost of life was very low. And then the business started going better and better, but it took crazy amount of years, right?
So what I've learned is I don't need a lot of money. Like I'm able to bring my cost down almost to zero, right? But I do need some money. So I don't necessarily want to get rich, but I do want to be able to make a living where I can be comfortable.
But again, if you're doing something that you genuinely enjoy, then who cares? It's what you're doing 8 hours a day or 5 or 4. I don't know how many hours you want to work. But if you genuinely enjoy, then what else do you need? You're doing something you enjoy. You have money for food. you meet people, you can take care of your health. Yes, long term, you might want to have a cushion, you might want this and that, but you have a great life already. You're in paradise already. And that's how I felt. And even, for example, there's a guy that lived with me. So I shared the apartment because I didn't have money to pay for the apartment by myself. And I was packing the stuff at home in the living room. And the guy that lived with me said, if someone offered you $1 million for the company, would you sell it? I was like, no, I don't think so. Because the problem with the $1 million is that it goes down and I still need to figure out something to do, right? But with the business, I was happy. And so and it was a business that wasn't making a lot of money. And so that's more important than $1 million. If you're doing something that's making you 1 or 2,000 a month, but you're happy, that's more important to me than having $1 million and having to figure out how to get happiness.
I think that's a great place to end it, Matteo. We are out of time.
The only final remark I wanted to say is that I think looking for the perfect answer, I don't think the perfect answer exists. There's a phrase that I read once that I love. It says, stop looking for who you are. This is not a journey of discovery, but of creation. Seek not to find out who you are, but who you want to be. And that was very powerful for me. It's in Conversations with God. I remember now. It's a book that I really like. And I always thought it was a journey of discovery. Who am I? But I think now that it's a journey of creation. This is who I want to be. I want to create. And so then you can be whatever you want as soon as you decide what you want to be.
You'll get a laugh out of this. Maybe I'll record it. I wrote a song when I was traveling with my guitar, and the first line is, who am I? Who do I want to be?
It's a sign. Maybe the universe, some people think that the universe talks to you through like songs and people and stuff in your life. Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Who am I? Who do I want to be? Take off the